Hello, hey, this is Derek Applegate here, and doing our first, oops, sorry about that, guess I can't kick the tripod, starting our first class on It's Okay to Be Human. And today's lesson, I'm going to basically just want to give you an introduction of what it is that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, and let you know who I am and kind of why you would even want to listen to me. So if you can hear me, just kind of send some emojis or something along the way. Again, we're going live, and there's so many things that can go wrong. So just kind of let me know whether or not you can hear me or not by doing that. Like I said, my name is Derek Applegate, and the class that I'm going to be teaching over the next 6 to 8 weeks is called It's Okay to Be Human. To kind of introduce myself, I've spent most of my life, all right, see somebody's listening to me. I spent most of my life under a paradigm of I'm broken and I need to fix myself. And it probably started in my teenage years. And I suffered from panic attacks, depression, starting at a very young age, at like 13, 14 years old. And because of that, I've always seemed to try to figure out what was going on in my life. And so I studied many different things. I actually studied psychology in college and sociology, and I've studied a countless number of books I've read, countless number of courses I've gone. I became a practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and all it was to do was to basically attempt to understand the human mind, to understand what it is to be human, and really to fix myself. It was the main focus. Fix myself and fix my family, of course, because we were all broken. And over the course of my years, I was able to overcome a lot of the depression, a lot of the panic attacks, a lot of the frustrations that I had. But there always seemed to be something missing. And it wasn't until just recently, about 3 years ago, that I came across an understanding that changed my life. Because it wasn't an understanding of what I could do or should do to make my life better, but it was an understanding of how we actually work as a human being. And it was quite a different experience for me, because it came down to something that it was more of an understanding than a doing. So I started a company. It's called Beyond How To. And mainly the approach that I do is that the how-tos, the tips and strategies that are so prominent in psychology and self-help and coaching, though they can work, they're really not, I guess, the juice that really gives change in people's lives. It really comes down to an understanding of who we are as a human being and how we work. So this understanding, this course, for me, is the owner's manual of what it is to be a human being, how we function. So I was going to say, so what this isn't going to be, this isn't going to be a class where I'm going to tell you a bunch of tips and strategies and techniques on what you should do or how you should live your life. That's not my job. That's above my pay grade. But what it is an understanding of exactly how we experience life as a human being, and where our experience comes from. Now, some of you may have read my emails or my posts, but some of the subjects that we're going to talk about, and I'm just going to go through them and just give you a little synopsis of each one. And the first one we're going to talk about, and may not talk about in this order, but one of the ones is the primary motivation of all human beings. You know, there's a lot of talk about motivation and how do we get ourselves motivated and what we should do. But when we really understand that all human beings are designed to survive, we are designed to thrive. And we're designed for this sense of well-being. And our primary motivation throughout everything that we do is that desire for well-being, for happiness, contentment, peace of mind. And every behavior can be tied down to either we're going to attempt to keep that well-being that we feel, or we're going to do behaviors to protect ourselves from losing that sense of well-being. And we're going to go into a lot more detail about that understanding of our well-being and where it comes from. And that comes to the next point of there are three principles, three fundamental truths about what it is to be a human being. The fact that we are alive is one. The second is that we are aware. And the third is that we think. And you add those three things together, that's what gives us our experience of life. Now, the fact that we are alive is very critical because the fact that we're alive, we are given innate gifts. Those innate gifts of that sense of well-being, that sense of happiness, that sense of contentment, that desire to thrive and that desire to thrive. And when we understand these innate gifts, as our awareness of those innate gifts come up, and we understand the nature of thought, our experience can actually change. It can be almost transformal. It changes it, it bumps it up to another level of consciousness. And just this understanding that's where the change happens, is really with the understanding. The other misunderstanding that we have in life is that most of us live life as an outside in. In other words, it's what happens outside ourselves. It happens, it's the circumstances that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. That's what creates our experience. That's what creates my feelings. And when we really get to an understanding, we understand that that's wrong, that we are actually an inside out. Our experience of life is a projection of our nature, our innate nature. It's an inside out. And the combination of our nature being alive and our awareness and our thinking, that's how we come up with our experience. One of the other things that I always found that was interesting when I talk about this understanding is it's not a to-do. It's not things that we need to do. It's not any more steps or strategies. It's actually more subtractive. And what we're going to be subtracting is the misunderstandings of how we experience life. And when we subtract the misunderstandings, it opens up to an understanding of who we are as human beings. Like for me, one of the biggest misunderstandings that I had was that I was broken, that somehow I needed to be fixed. And when I realized that not only I'm not broken, but no one else is, we're all sitting in perfect mental health. We just don't know it. And when we clear up the misunderstandings of this outside-in paradigm, that's just a place where transformation happens. And I wish I could articulate better on some of the things that I've seen with people's lives that have changed from just some people just having more relaxed feelings. Other people just, I've seen people give up alcohol. I've seen people who have had depression seen in a different light, where they just aren't feeling those panic attacks as much as they normally do. So this is kind of what I want to go through on the next few weeks. It's just showing you how this experience and how this understanding can give you a greater a greater feeling of who you are as a human being. One of the other misunderstandings that that I kind of came up with, that I lived my life by, was that not only that I was broken, but there was things that I had to do to fix myself. There was things that I just needed to do. And I've had these big, huge to-do list of things to do to maintain my happiness, to maintain my joy. And this understanding pointed to me of that true happiness, that sense of well-being, that there really is nothing to do. That is just a part of who we are as a human being. The fact that we are alive gives us those innate gifts. And to me, that was a great, great feeling, to know that circumstance was not responsible for my well-being. That the outside events that happen in my life don't dictate my happiness. They cannot take it away, nor can it give it to me. And that was a great comfort for me to know that. So that way, because I'm a human, and we are all humans, we have the ability to just deal with reality. And we're going to have circumstances that are going to hit. We're going to have things that we're going to be up against. But there's a power in understanding that no matter what that circumstance is, that our natural resilience has the ability to deal with it, to take care of what is in front of us. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail about that in some of our future lessons. And I think one of the biggest misunderstandings that I had also was the fact that I needed to control my life. In other words, I could control my thinking. I could control the experience. Maybe I couldn't control the circumstance that was going on, but I sure could control how I experienced it. I could change my thinking. But with this understanding, I realized that control is just an illusion. There is really no control, and I don't have to control my thinking to make my life better. I just have to understand the power of thought and how thought actually works. And when you understand that thought is free-flowing, it is arbitrary, and a thought's going to change whether you do anything about it or not. And actually trying to change your thoughts actually stops you from changing thoughts. It just puts attention on the thought that you want to get rid of. It's kind of like, try not to think of purple elephants. You can't stop but think about purple elephants because that's what we're thinking about. And as long as you try to stop thinking about them, those purple elephants are just going to keep on coming back. It's the same thing with anything else in our life. We get focused on thinking that we have control over our thinking, and we don't. And the good news is we don't have to have control, because thoughts get to change no matter what we do. That was a great insight for me to have. So this course, the next 6 to 8 weeks, this isn't a how-to. This isn't what you need to do. And the best thing about this, why I love this so much, is it's not anything that you need to do anything about other than listen. But listening in the right way will really help. Because when we listen, we listen, either one is to negate. In other words, I'm listening to you, and I'm going to run it through my filters to see whether or not I agree or disagree with you. And as soon as I find something I disagree with you, I'm going to just point out how wrong you are. So that's one form of listening. And it's not really the most effective way of listening. The second one is you're going to listen to affirm. In other words, I'm going to listen to you and just keep trying to find things that I agree with. And it's a little better way of listening, but it's still is limiting. Through these courses of lessons, actually the best way to listen is to listen as if you're listening to music. I've heard the term, listen as a rock with ears. Not really with anything of judgment on your mind, but just hear. Just listen to understand. And if you don't understand, it's okay. We can get points where we can answer questions and we can figure some things out. But what I found that the greatest benefit of just this understanding is listening to just understand. Listen as if you're going to listen to music. And you're going to hear things that are just going to, they're just going to resonate in your own way. And I don't know how that's going to show up to you. But it will. I know it did for me. Now the other thing is why am I doing these classes? And here's the main reason why I'm doing these classes is one is I believe this information is critical. When you really get into this understanding and you see the nature of how our feelings work and how our thoughts work and how this inside-outside paradigm really gives us our experience of life, the problems and the issues that come up in people's lives, whether it's weight or whether it's finances, parenting, the schools, bullying, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, drug abuse, there's just an understanding that arises, and you can see things more clearly, and common sense and common wisdom shows up. And that's the reason why I want to share this, is because it is the owner's manual of what we are as human beings. And I want to make sure that as many people as I can understand that. Now, some will ask, well, why are you doing it for free? What's the catch? Well, here's the catch. And this is my business. I do coaching. I do coaching in group sessions where I work with businesses in small groups. I work with individuals one-on-one. Now, there are going to be some of you that may want to work with me. And there will be a chance later on that you can do that. However, I also want to be able to share this information that you don't need to work with me. You don't need me. You can just get a lot out of this course. And if you want to work with me, great. If you don't, great. I don't care, because I think that pointing people to this understanding, to me, is my calling. It's clearing up the misunderstandings of the frustrations that we have in life, whether it's individual or even on our family level or even a community level or even globally. Most of the problems that we have is a misunderstanding of how we work as human beings. I hope that makes some sense. But I'm going to be really excited about teaching these next few courses. So it's going to be two ways. One is on Facebook Live, and hopefully technology will work. And the second one is I've set up a learning platform for those people who are not on Facebook, or who want a little bit more ability to communicate one-on-one. And that's over on another site that's called Expertise TV. And there's links in this group to point you to that. And so I'll be teaching two classes every Tuesday. One at 11 o'clock with the Facebook group on Facebook Live. And the second one is going to be on this other platform. And to sign up on that one, you just click on that link that's in the Facebook group and just put in your email, and then you can just attend that webinar also if you want. So, and both of these are going to be recorded, so you can watch them if you can't show up live. And what I encourage you to do is please share this with people. I want to get as many people as I can to understand this understanding. Because, like I say, I've seen people who have turned away from suicide plans. I've seen people who have had depression, I don't know, just those symptoms alleviated. The understanding that this talks about, such as feelings. I mean, that was one of the big misunderstandings that I had, is that I always thought feelings were telling me about something that I need to take care of, some past experience that needed to be cleaned up, or some future event that was going to happen, a warning. But when I really started to realize that feelings are actually just a feedback mechanism to let me know where my thinking is in the moment. And we're going to have an entire session just on feelings. And it's going to be fun. So let me look at my notes here and see if I got everything that I wanted to cover on this one. And I think I got her pretty much done. But another way of why I set this group up is it is a closed group. Anybody can join. But one is that it's a place where we can actually post comments and ask questions, where it's not going to go into our general, let's say, feed, I think is what they call it. So it's a little bit more private. And again, if you have any questions, comments or things that you want to maybe discuss on the next class, just email them to me or put them in the chat, or even post it to the into the group, and we'll have a fun adventure. Again, thanks a lot for showing up. These will be recorded so that you can watch them again. But this understanding, I can't express it enough on how powerful it can be to really truly understand how we operate as a human being. It's just so powerful. So thanks a lot for showing up, and hope those of you who catch the recording will enjoy it also. For those of you who want to attend the 2 o'clock session, go ahead and just sign up. It's just follow the links that's been posted in the Facebook group, and we'll see you at 2. Pretty much the same, but maybe a little bit different. But until next week, I'll see you then. And with love, this is Derek saying goodbye. Bye.